Hi guys, welcome to Mastering Ethical Hacking Skills using Python course. Today we're gonna talk about Python sockets. We will talk about how we can build Python sockets, how we can communicate with other devices using sockets, how to send and receive data using sockets. And we will talk about how we can build that using Python programming language, of course. In this lecture, we will answer some questions like what is Python sockets, where we can use Python sockets, and how we can use it as security guys. Okay, let's get started. We have first to read the Python documentation for socket. You can find a lot of very useful information about socket in Python. I will give you and I will show you the basics of sockets in this course and how we can deal with socket in general. If you want to get deep and deeper, you can use this documentation as your first guide. So we need to make sure that everything is clear to us. In the socket, we need to determine what is the address that we want to connect to. The address, which means the host and the port that we want to connect to. In socket.af inet, we mean that we want to connect to IP version 4 address. Socket.af underscore inet 6, that means we want to connect with IP version 6 protocol. IP version 6 address. The socket.sock stream means that we want to use TCP as a network protocol to communicate with the device. The first assignment for you guys is to write a paragraph about the sockets family, socket, sock row, sock RDM, sock SIG packet. The sock stream, as I said, it's used for TCP connection, generally used for TCP connection. Socket.sock underscore dgram used to use UDP protocol to communicate with the devices. I want from you guys to write more about the sock row, sock RDM, sock SIG packet, and so on about them and how you can use them and what is the main usage for them. Okay, now let's get started the code and write a simple script that helps us to communicate with other device using IP version 4 and how we can use that using Python. First of all, let's determine the path of the interpreter, user pin Python 2.7, and let's import the socket library using import, then socket. So we will import the socket library and press enter to create an object now from socket library, which is sock for an example. Sock equals socket.socket. Now in this line we initialize a socket, but we have to be more specific. Let's determine the socket family that we want to use. We will give socket.af underscore net socket.sockstream sock.sockstream. Okay, we determine that we want to deal with IP version 4 and we need to communicate using TCP connection or TCP protocol, I'm sorry. Okay, now we want to connect to the host. If we want to connect to the host using sockets, we need to type sock.socket as connectory and the method. Inside this method, it takes one argument as a tuple, like this, a parameter. It would be like a tuple. Okay, this tuple takes two elements. The first element would be string as host, and the second one would be integer as port. So the first element, which is the address, will be string, for example, localhost. The second element will be the port, which is, for example, 4040. Okay, now we initialize the socket and we determine the family of the socket, and now we connect to the host that we want to connect to. We determine the local host and the port, as I mentioned before. Now we want to send the data that we want to send to this host. We need to type sock.send. Send method will let us send data to this host after we accomplish a connection with it. We need to be the we need the host to be a real host, an existed host, for example, not a non-existed host, or we can't connect to this host, and we need an open port to communicate with. So I determined localhost and 4040 as an port. Now let us send the data. The data will be high with a line terminator. Okay, now with these four codes, actually, four line of codes, we write a simple script that transmit the data between us and other device. But let us modify the script to be more professional. We need to do this. Let's make some exception handling, try and accept to make sure that everything is good. With a tab, accept, with a tab, accept socket error, of course. The socket error, sorry, if we gone into socket error here, the exception, we see it, sorry, that this exception is raised for socket related errors. That means maybe the host is non-exist, or the port is closed, or there's firewall to deny us from connect to this host. So anyway, if the connection went good, we'll print, for example, connection done, and print if any error happened. We will print, for example, error, and this sad face. Okay. Let's save this data, save it, and go to our terminal. We will use netcat to listen to the port, netcat-blp, verbose listen to port. I assume that you used netcat before. If not, let me give you a brief about netcat. Netcat is a tool that helps us to communicate with other devices or to listen to local ports. So here we need to, or we tell netcat to listen to port, to specified port, listen LP to the port, and verbose to print out the results on all operations that happens in netcat for this moment. So we need to 4040. Okay, as we can see, we're listening now on localhost and port 4040. We need to execute the script, and the script should send hi as an argument, as a data to this netcat connection. So we need to Python 2.7 example1.py and that presenter, and bingo. As we can see, connection done in our client, and in the server we see that the connection to port 4040 accepted, and we send hi with a line terminator to this socket. Okay, that's very good. We need to do some modification for this course, for the script, I'm sorry. Let's import sys library to take input from the user. We will initialize a variable host equals sys.argv1 as an argument value 1 as the first input from the user, and port we will take it as integer from sys.argv2 as the second argument from the user. We'll change the host, and here we will change the port, so we can let the user determine the host and the port that he wants to connect to. Okay, we will do like this, netcat VLP. Let's say this time we need 5050. Okay, so just let me do this. Okay, and now we will enter the first argument, the host that we want to connect to, 127.0, which is the local host. And we went, let's just be more clear for you. Now this address is equal localhost, okay, but I will type localhost, no problem with that. Localhost 5050 to be more clear for you guys. Okay, now it should, we're in press enter, it should, as we can see, print hi and connection done for us. Okay, that's perfect. That's very, very, very great. Okay. Okay, guys. Now we write the script to deal with the socket in a very simple way, in a very basic way. That is enough for today. And this lecture, we learned how to initialize the socket, as I mentioned, how to connect to a device, and how to send the data. In the next lecture, we will talk about how we can use Socket to write a port scanner or fully customized port scanner. So, see you in the next lecture.